Hey, it's Karyn Bryant for MMA Heat, and I'm talking with Ruan, who is fighting in the EFC Championship this Friday night. I guess Friday night for our time. He's an undefeated heavyweight champ, and first and foremost, Ruan, I want to say it's good to see you again. I haven't seen you since Vegas with Cheick Kongo. So how you feeling?
No, I'm feeling good. I had a very long training camp. I was supposed to fight about a month earlier. So yeah, that's why. Hence the preparation with Cheick and Ollie Thompson. And Dave Jackson and Mario and all of them. But yeah, I reached my peak a bit early, got a bit of a slump, and now I'm back up again. So it's all good.
So now what happened? Was it initially still going to be Bernardo Mikixi that you were fighting and he just got hurt, or what happened?
No, it was just a change of venue, actually. It's just the venue changed, and obviously the date changed with the venue. So it was just the whole program was just prolonged by a few weeks.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff here, but we'll keep talking about the fight. You know, we shared a trailer the other day of your fight, and I don't know much about him, but it looks like this is going to be a good fight. How do you size him up in terms of competition?
Yeah, it should be a good fight. He's had 2 good wins. He's come off 2 good wins at the moment, and yeah, I mean he's up and coming. I've had to wait for almost 10 months for a challenger. So I've been anxious for a fight and really waiting and hoping. But yeah, finally the day's come. So Friday's going to be a big night. And yeah, he's an up and comer, and he's always improving his game. So yeah, you can't underestimate the guy. And he's got heavy punches, So it's good, he likes to stand and bang. But, I don't know. We'll see what happens on the night. I'm sure he's hoping to stand and bang, but it might go to ground. We never know.
Well, and if it does, you've been training with Mario Sucata, who you briefly mentioned there. Is that who you primarily work with for jiu-jitsu?
No, I worked with Mario when I was over, obviously, Vegas with Cheick and them. But I work with Jodison Costa, who's also actually fighting. He was also on one of the headline fights. Mine's the headline fight, but the other 2 title fights. So he's actually fighting just before me. He's actually a Brazilian chap, and he's actually a phenomenal Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner. And he's obviously moved over to Africa, and he's also fighting. As I said, he's got the title for the welterweight division, and also up and coming to watch. But yeah, phenomenal coach.
Great. So how many title defenses have you made so far?
I've won the title bout against Norman Vessels, and I've defended my title once, so this will be the second title defense.
Do you feel that you have more to lose? I mean, obviously you have more to lose because you could lose your title, but sometimes I feel like the champ already has that comfort level of knowing they're the champ, so they just have a easier time going into the cage, whereas the challenger, has everything to gain. How do you see it?
Most definitely. I mean, it's a lot of pressure on Bernardo. He's obviously going in. I've already gone for the title and I've defended the title, so I know what it feels like on both ends on that. So it'll be he's gone for a title before. He went against Norman Vessels, who I beat for the title, and obviously he lost that. So he knows what it feels like fighting for the title. But it'll be second chance round. So as I said, he's a better athlete than he was back then. But he's also lost against Andrew Fangzz, who's the guy that I just defended my title against. So I think that'll play a lot in the back of his mind also, So it should be interesting.
So for those of us who don't know, I mean, it's interesting when we first met you and Dave, and they said, oh yeah, let's meet, the African champ. And I think Wade and I both looked at Christophe Mendy, because it just seemed obviously it should be a black guy. And we looked at him, Cheick's boxing coach. We're like, how you doing? They're like, no, it's the other guy. So I'm wondering, I don't know if you get that a lot. Obviously, you get that maybe from Americans. But how big is the organization in Africa, and how much growth do you think that MMA is having over there right now?
Most definitely. I mean, MMA has been around for probably about 10, 12 years in South Africa as such. In Africa, I'm sure it's been around probably at least 5 years or so. But since the EFC's taken over, the last 3 years that they've been established was basically 3 years. It's just, skyrocketed. I mean, you're looking at close to 2 million plus viewerships every single event. So on that sort of scale, I mean, I think that even overtakes Strike Force back in the day and those sort of organizations. So for African company just to be established and start off, and obviously the production is very professional, looking and everything.
Yeah, the trailer looked. Yeah, well, it looked just like a UFC promo.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. So, as I say, I mean, the sport's relatively new, but I mean, I've trained overseas. Obviously, I've trained in the UK. I've trained with obviously the American guys also and stuff. And give us Africans credit. The thing is, we're training. Our training's pretty much the same. I'd just say it's a bit more experience that we're lacking, but the training and the intensity and stuff is pretty much the same. So you'll start seeing us, I reckon, within the next year or 2 years. Definitely, prospects for the UFC.
Well, that's another question because no disrespect to the organization in which you're fighting already, but certainly when people see fighters in organizations that aren't the UFC, everybody says, when are they coming to the UFC? So is that something you have a long-term deal with them? Could we expect to see you in the UFC soon?
I'm definitely, hoping I'm always up for a challenge. As I said, I've trained with Ollie and I've trained with Cheick and I see also how I'm improving every year. So most definitely, I mean I'm pretty much out of opponents as such. I mean, as I said, I had to wait 11 months almost for another fight.
Right.
So it's a bit frustrating for me. And obviously, I know the UFC likes very active fighters. So it's frustrating because there's nothing I can do about it because there's no one really for me to fight.
Right.
But I've had other people, like Neil Grove, for instance. He was also in the UFC. He's wanting to challenge me and all those kinds of things. I think he's gone somewhere to show Bellator, wherever it is. I think he's for. And that's always I'm just interested. I just want to fight. I enjoy it. I've got a passion for the sport, and I reckon I can stand with the up and coming UFC guys. I'm sure I can.
Well, and how long have you trained with Cheick? How did you guys even meet? Because that's a pretty serious camp, and I know when he trains very hard.
Yes, no, most definitely. I actually started with Ollie Thompson back probably close to a year and a half, 2 years ago. I started actually with Ollie starting in MMA 5 years ago. So when we started in Brighton in the UK, but we had a camp which was with Dave Jackson and everybody that was called the Wolf's Lair. Obviously, the Wolf's Lair, and that's where I actually went with Ollie the first time. That was probably about a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that's the first time I actually met Cheick and everything else. And and then I was quite honoured to be asked to come over for the Las Vegas camp. And so it was good for me. Obviously, I get a lot of experience, and the main thing is I don't get much experience here because anybody that I potentially can train with will potentially be my opponent. So there's not that many heavyweights. So it's good for me. That's why I love going overseas rather to do my training camps.
Yeah. Well, and Cheick is nuts. I mean, he and Dave Jackson, those guys have they have a lot of fun.
Oh yes, most definitely. No, they have a lot of fun, but playtime's playtime, but work time's work time. They're very dedicated and very yourself.
Right.
Very, very dedicated and potential threats to anybody if they're in your camp. So that's very good.
Definitely. So if you do look at the UFC, are there any fighters that you like a lot that you would say, hey, if Joe Silva could match you up, somebody that you saw that you wouldn't mind taking on?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I've looked at both of Ollie Thompson's opponents, and most definitely, I reckon I can take them both. Probably standing with forward, but no, I'd definitely give the guys a good run for their money, if not winning the title. I don't like being overconfident, but confidence is a good thing. But most definitely, Phil de Vries is the one, and the chap that Cheick Kongo just fought too. I'd like to give that. I would give that a go too. Obviously, I mean, I'm up and coming, so if that's the thing, if I've got to wait, I don't mind waiting. But those are the people I can see myself, competing against at the moment at my current state. Right.
Well, very nice. I hope we do get to see you, over here soon. And I'm just curious. Is it the type of thing where you're getting recognized all the time at home now? Is it growing that much to where everybody knows who you are?
Oh, most definitely. I made a move also from Cape Town to Johannesburg, and obviously the EFC headquarters are in Johannesburg. But no, most definitely, get a lot more time, shopping centres and stuff. You see the people, you got to, that's it. It's good fun and everything, and you've got to. I mean, you can't be one of those uptight guys. If a guy comes for autograph or photo, you've got to. I'm very laid back that way. I enjoy that. So it's good. And with my wife and kid walking in the shopping centre, they don't mind because I know, that's what I need to do. So.
So what do you have a boy or a girl, a daughter or son?
I've got a little boy, a little 3-year-old boy.
Oh yeah, what does he think about Daddy being a fighter?
I don't know. It seems he doesn't watch the fights, but he seems to know more about fighting than I do,
Oh,
to be
yeah.
honest with you. He's quite crazy. Yeah, he's got his own little punching bag and kicks and hits it. And yeah, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu moves are just flowing. So I don't know. He's doing something right.
That's great. Yeah, the next generation. It's amazing how good these kids can be at such an early age. It really is cool. Well, great. Well, I wish you the best of luck. And like I said, we're going to get all the info for everybody so they can figure out how to watch it. But do you have a favorite move, signature punch, anything like that we should look for?
Anything that gets my hand up at the end of the fight, that's my speciality. But pretty much groundwork is where I'm best at.
All right. Very nice. Well, thank you, Ruan. Best of luck to you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Karyn.